Using your mind to be vital. Chapter 1. The mind is the engine of the body. Positive thinking in health. 1. Modern studies have shown that the power of positive thought, prayer, can also have a marked difference on a patient's recovery, regardless of their knowledge of the act. There has been some important research on the placebo effect. The placebo effect can arise not only from a conscious belief in a drug but also from subconscious associations between recovery and the experience of being treated, from a doctor's white coat to ingesting a pill. Such subliminal conditioning can control bodily processes of which we are unaware, such as immune responses and the release of hormones. These remarkable conclusions open several lines of debate concerning what exactly healing is, simultaneously revealing the dark underbelly of the pharmaceutical companies, who have become the silent partner in the modern relationship between healers and patients. There are several studies available that show the effect of positive thought on patients in recovery. Spiritual healing, positive thinking has now also been proven to be beneficial to patients, regardless of whether they have knowledge of it or not. The profound implications of these results offer credence to the traditional beliefs in the healing powers of shaman, witch doctors, and the healing miracles of the clergy. Positive thinking in health. 2. Modern experimental research into positive thinking is suggesting the presence of an underlying set of phenomena apparently operating between the unconscious mind and the physical world. One of the most obviously recognized forms of positive thinking can be seen in the strong traditions and dependency on prayer to heal or cure the sick, prayer being one of the oldest and most emotive means of attempting to alter the outcome of events by manipulating the more obvious laws of nature. In prehistoric times, the role of the shaman is understood as operating as a link between the known and the unknown, perhaps in the same way as a priest today, but they also operated as healers. It is the relationship between belief and healing that is the topic of debate on this page and what makes shamanism relevant in the context of positive thinking. A recent Lancet editorial said it would be premature to rule out the use of such therapies in modern medicine. It added, "The contribution that hope and belief make to a personal understanding of illness cannot be dismissed so lightly. They are proper subjects for science." Positive thinking in health. 3. I live by one rule: honor my true nature. I don't need any psychobabble beyond that. If I'm sick in bed dying, I still know I was born to be a strong vital man, so I will walk out into the field in the noonday sun even if the effort kills me, because I belong outdoors in the glory of nature. Here are some key points. Beyond providing basic comfort, money won't make you happy. Eleanor Roosevelt said happiness comes from helping others. Rabbi Harold Kushner wrote a book called When Bad Things Happen to Good People after his son died. He says enjoy every day. Be thankful for everything you got. We live in a society that teaches to be envious of others and always try to get more to be like the rich people we see on TV. Who is wealthy? The one content with what he has. Have unconditional love for life itself. Listen to people. Be compassionate. Be thankful. Have hope. Have courage. Be yourself. Miracles happen. Listen to good music. Laughter is the best medicine. Express your creativity and inspired thoughts. Help others. Scars make you strong. Find good friends. Try number 150-159. Number 362.196 or RC924 at the library. Positive thinking evidence, the placebo effect. Most people agree that positive thinking is effective, but just how much is debatable. The gold standard of medical research has been the double-blind, placebo-controlled clinical trial. You give one group of patients a medicine you want to test and another group a dummy pill that has no active ingredients. Neither the patients nor doctors know who is getting which. Medical literature includes a great deal of testimony that the placebo effect routinely works 30% of the time, with Dr. Herbert Benson of Harvard stating that it may work up to 90% of the time. The effectiveness of a placebo in any given circumstance also varies greatly. In 9 double-blind studies comparing placebos to aspirin, placebos proved to be 54% as effective as the actual analgesic. From this, one might expect that placebos would be even less effective when compared to a much stronger painkiller such as morphine, but this is not the case. In 6 double-blind studies, placebos were found to be 56% as effective as morphine in relieving pain. In a recent study of a new kind of chemotherapy, 30% of the individuals in the control group, the group given placebos, lost their hair. Evidence from numerous studies on the placebo effect have revealed the fascinating fact that the belief of the patient that they are being cured appears to have more effect than many modern pharmaceutical medicines. In fact, the placebo effect appears to be getting stronger in people, making it difficult for the drug companies to produce new drugs which show an improvement over it. The credit for the increased placebo effect is attributed to the increase in consumer marketing, which leads to people having a better belief in the product. Many of the existing drugs, such as Prozac, have been shown to falter when compared to the placebo effect. Placebo effects can arise not only from a conscious belief in a drug but also from subconscious associations between recovery and the experience of being treated, from the pinch of a shot to a doctor's white coat. Researchers have decoded some of the biology of placebo responses, demonstrating that they stem from active processes in the brain. The experiments of Dr. Masaru Emoto. Masaru Emoto, a researcher and alternative healer from Japan, has given the world a good deal of evidence of the magic of positive thinking. He became famous when his water molecule experiments featured in the 2004 film, What the Bleep Do We Know? His experiments demonstrate that human thoughts and intentions can alter physical reality, in this case the molecular structure of water. Given that humans are comprised of at least 60% water, his discovery has far-reaching implications. The following 2 experiments were performed by Dr. Emoto, which he says demonstrate the metaphysical reality of positive thinking. The ice crystal experiment. In this experiment, water molecules which had positive thoughts projected at it were shown to form into ice crystals which are both more complex and more aesthetically pleasing. The experiments consists of exposing water in glasses to different words, pictures, or music and then freezing and examining the aesthetics of the resulting crystals with microscopic photography. Emoto claims that there are many differences in the crystalline structure of the water depending on the type of water source, which were taken from all over the world. For example, a water sample from a pristine mountain stream would purportedly show a geometric design that is beautifully shaped when frozen. On the other hand, polluted water sources will supposedly show a definite distortion and will be randomly formed. The rice experiment. The rice experiment is another famous Emoto demonstration of the power of negative thinking and conversely, the power of positive thinking. In this experiment, Dr. Emoto placed portions of cooked rice into 2 containers. On one container he wrote "Thank you" and on the other "You fool." He then instructed school children to say the labels on the jars out loud every day when they passed them by. After 30 days, the rice in the container with positive thoughts had barely changed, while the other was moldy and rotten. It is widely reported that this experiment can be reproduced by almost anyone. In order to perform the test yourself, you have to spend at least 5 minutes, twice a day consciously intending negative thoughts or positive thoughts at the respective containers of rice. Make sure you use cooked rice, as it is the water content that is said to produce the results. The same experiment is also reported to be possible with plants such as growing carrot tops. In this version, it is suggested that you take 4 carrots all the same size. Cut them 1/2 inch below the green top and trim off all the foliage. Place them in 2 saucers and label one dish with A+ and one dish, and place them in a window for light. Keep them watered but every day look at the + carrots and think you are beautiful plant, you will be green and lush etc. And to the carrots think you are horrible, I hate you, you will wither and die, brown and disgusting. After a few weeks, the results are apparently visibly obvious. Can you think yourself younger? An experiment in 1979 to see if thought patterns could affect the aging process has turned out to have far-reaching consequences in the field of positive thinking. Taken back 20 years through visual aids and other stimulus to see if it affected their group of elderly gentlemen were Professor Langer, who took physiological measurements both before and after the week and found the men improved across the board. Their blood pressure dropped and, even more surprisingly, their eyesight and hearing got better. Both groups showed improvements, but the experimental group improved the most. Their gait, dexterity, arthritis, speed of movement, cognitive abilities, and their memory was all measurably improved. Professor Langer believes that by encouraging the men's minds to think younger, their bodies followed and actually became younger. The love study. The following experiment was designed to determine if our consciousness has the capacity to reach out and connect to someone else in a way that's health-promoting. Dr. Schiltz has been conducting the study at the Institute of Neotic Studies in North Carolina, in which loving couples, married over a decade, are tested in the following way. Schiltz takes one of the couple into an isolated room, where no sound can come in or go out. They settle into a deep armchair as Schiltz attaches electrodes to their right hand which measures blood flow in the thumb and skin conductance activity, both of which are measures of their unconscious nervous system. Schiltz locks the person into the electromagnetically shielded chamber and ushers the partner into another isolated room with a closed-circuit television. She explains that the screen will go on and off. And at random intervals, the images of the other partner will appear on the screen for 10 seconds. During the times when they see them, they are told to think about sending loving, compassionate intention. The results show changes in the first partner's blood pressure and perspiration when they seize the image of their partner. The steady lines suddenly jump and become ragged. More interesting, however, is that at the same time there's a change in the blood volume of the other partner. It is described as a sudden change like that associated with an orienting response. If you suddenly hear somebody whispering in your ear and there's nobody around, you have this sense of what? What was that? That's more or less what they are seeing in the physiology. After running 36 couples through this test, the researchers found that when one person focused his thoughts on his partner, the partner's blood flow and perspiration dramatically changed within 2 seconds. The odds of this happening by chance were 1 in 11,000. 36 double-blind, randomized studies by such institutions as the University of Washington and the University of Edinburgh have reported similar results. So how are we to explain this quantum entanglement? The current theory is as follows. Once two particles have interacted, if you separate them, even by miles, they behave as if they're still connected. So far, this has only been demonstrated on the subatomic level. It is proposed that the same effect could be working on people in close relationships, couples, siblings, parent and child, not just emotionally and psychologically, but also physically. This idea, that we may be connected at some molecular level, greatly echoes the words of the mystics. Your thoughts cause specific molecular changes to your genes. According to Dr. Bruce Lipton, gene activity can change on a daily basis. If the perception in your mind is reflected in the chemistry of your body, and if your nervous system reads and interprets the environment and then controls the blood's chemistry, then you can literally change the fate of your cells by altering your thoughts. In the simplest terms, this means that we need to change the way we think if we are to heal cancer. Chapter 2. Using the mind to be vital. Faith healing info. There are numerous claims of miraculous healing in the literature, but results of clinical trials vary from trial to trial, with one claiming that remote intercessory prayer has a positive effect on patients, another saying it has no effect whatsoever, and the next saying that it even has a negative effect on the patient's outcome. So what exactly is the truth behind faith healing? The results of faith healing tend to be ascribed to the projection of positive thought, but this is yet to be satisfactorily established, as there is also evidence suggesting it is the thoughts of the patient that are at the heart of any witnessed phenomena. Spirituality and health. In a long-term case study of patients with HIV, Professor Gail Ironson began to notice that certain patients never got sick. She decided to investigate the matter and found something surprising. If you ask people what's kept you going so long, what keeps you healthy, often people would say spirituality, she says. It was something that just kept coming up in the interviews, and that's why I decided to look at it. Prof. Ironson began to zero in on a patient's relationship with God in an attempt to predict how fast the disease would progress. She focused on two key indicators. She measured viral load, which tells how much of the virus is present in a person's body, and immune cells called CD4 cells, which help fight off the AIDS virus. Ironson says over time, those who turned to God after their diagnosis had a much lower viral load and maintained those powerful immune cells at a much higher rate than those who turned away from God. In fact, people who felt abandoned by God and who decreased in spirituality lost their CD4 cells 5 times faster than people who increased in spirituality, Ironson says. That was actually our most powerful psychological predictor to date. Just so I understand it, I confirm, if someone weren't taking their meds and were depressed, they would still fare better if they increased in spirituality? Yes, she says. Dr. Charmaine Griffiths, spokesperson for the British Heart Foundation, speaking on the subject of faith healing, said, while this research suggests that prayer and alternative therapies do not improve the clinical outcome for patients undergoing heart procedures, there is increasing interest in the possibility that positive emotional states are beneficial to heart health. She said associations had been seen between positive emotional states and low levels of the stress hormone cortisol. Further evidence is emerging that people with a more positive outlook appear to be less affected by stressful events, such as having surgery. She added, patients learning to relax by using breathing techniques and listening to music and being aware that others are thinking of them may contribute to a more optimistic outlook. Medical study questions the power of prayer. Dozens of studies of the effects of prayer have been carried out in the last few years with mixed results. Contrary to most experiments in this field, the result of a 10-year study on the effect of prayers offered by strangers showed that they had no effect on the recovery of people who were undergoing heart surgery. In addition, patients who knew they were being prayed for had a higher rate of post-operative complications like abnormal heart rhythms, perhaps because of the expectations the prayers created, the researchers suggested. NewYorkTimes.com/2006/03/31/health/31pray.html. A summary of You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay at selfdevelopmentsecrets.com/you-can-heal-your-life-summary. It's about the body and mind connection. If you are willing to do the mental work, almost anything can be healed. With good mind power and mental health, you can have better health and vitality. Life is simple, you are what you think and do. You get what you give in an aesthetic spiritual sense. Power is always in the present moment. The book gets really new agey, kind of like the law of attraction from the universe, which is not true because bad things happen to good people and good things happen to bad people, and also the fact that you determine your life, not some magical universal force. You simply do your best with what you got. Some people get rich rewards, some don't. All you got is you right now. You honor yourself by releasing your natural energy. You don't do good then wait for God to bless you. You simply do good and keep doing good regardless of outcome. The law of attraction fails because I don't give a crap about doing something then waiting for someone to come along and give me an opportunity, money, etc. Why would I want to attract people if I think most of them are scumbags, as I was taught in the Old Testament of the Holy Bible? Louise Hay says that illness comes from a state of unforgiveness. When you are ill, she says, look around to see who you need to forgive. When you forgive, you free yourself and you can love yourself. Hayes believes that people problems come from not loving themselves enough. Love yourself, forgive yourself. She believes you can change your mind or beliefs. I believe I was a fixed essence at birth. I am my true nature. I know what it is. I live by it. I cannot change who I naturally am. Enlightenment is when you know your true nature and live by it. Nourish your body through exercise and nutrition. Do visualizations and affirmations. Use prayer, meditation, forgiveness, and kindness. You can change, heal, and prosper. What we think, we become. Nobody has ever regrown a limb as far as I know. Nobody has regrown a third set of teeth even though millions of people want them. Nobody has cured their nearsightedness through meditation as far as I know. Chapter 3. A Positive Thinking Website Guide. Selfdevelopmentsecrets.com has hundreds of articles. Big website. brucelipton.com and brucelipton.com/other-resources, big on mental vitality. His business model is using the mind to be vital. Facebook.com, Bruce H. Lipton. Twitter.com/biology of belief. YouTube.com/user/biology of belief. SoundCloud.com/Bruce Lipton. biologyofbelief.tumblr.com. Positive Vitality websites 1. drwong.us. drwongradio.com. positive-thinking-principles.com/positive-thinking-power.html